You know, time and time again, with every Work Tough Gear knife that I get into my hands, I realize exactly what all the hype is all about. Why there's actually a day, Work Tough Gear Day, Work Tough Gear Wednesday, that is followed by so many different people. Thanks to Scab, obviously, for bringing it in. With every knife I have in my hand, I realize basically how consistent they are with the craftsmanship of their products. With every knife I have in my hand, I realize what makes Work Tough Gear some of the toughest, well-made knives out there today. They have really made a name for themselves. But so far, I have to tell you, I have been really thoroughly impressed with consistency and performance, the fit and finish, the just overall build quality, the tough build quality, and the consistency of their handles, the comfort, the designs that are coming into Work Tough Gear, that Work Tough Gear takes them and makes them be a reality to a knife that is really a knife that can be used, is meant to be used, and it's meant to be used hard. Guys, if you like this type of video, let me remind you, a like, a subscribe, and a share would help me out greatly, and I really sincerely appreciate it. And also don't forget that I do have a membership tier level that you can see on my description where you can help out the channel even more, and that'll be much appreciated, and it'll help me continue to get you videos like this. So guys, another great design from Zeke Menacho. Zeke Menacho is quickly becoming one of my favorite designers of knives, especially because his designs are basically brought to life so well with Tough Gear. You start off with a expertly made Kydex sheath. Perfectly comfortable, perfectly grippy of the knife, clicks into place, no problems there, really strong. It's actually a very strong click, something that you know is going to stay steady for a long time. The tension fit, this will go through thousands of uses. I've been through probably hundreds and hundreds with all the knives I have. I've never had anything fail on the tension fits, even though there's a lot of critique out there saying that it's not good enough. It's definitely good enough. You have the belt dangler with the Velcro and the button attachment. Perfect combination, okay, to put this onto your belt with no problem. This kind of just, you carry it your side perfectly fine, and you can adjust it depending on the MOLLE compatible, the MOLLE screws. You can adjust it to decide if you want to be a lower or higher type of dangle carry. Then there's the knife. Oh, the knife. I freaking love the aesthetics of this knife. Now, the difference between Work Tough Gear and other companies, yes, they have great aesthetics on their knife. Yes, the fit and finish is great. Yes, they look great. And this is just a great looking knife. I'll go into detail a little bit more. There are knife companies out there, shall remain nameless. I've seen them embezzle their knives. They're doing beautiful leather sheets, very adorned leather sheets, and nice designs on the knife, and maybe throwing a little Damascus or a little rigid, you know, different types of panels and things like that, different types of grinds in the panels, you know, decorate the handles and things like that, and they're beautiful looking knives. But then when you go and use them, the tip completely breaks off, and it's just kind of deflates the whole thing, because you know what, you don't want a knife that's just going to look good but it's not going to work and you have to worry about the tip. I did not have to worry about this tip, just so you know. I did do tip testing. It's a reinforced solid knife. You don't have to worry about these types of things with these knives. Now, you do have a really beautiful aesthetic knife. And now, if you guys know me, I love aesthetics. I love aesthetics on a knife. Aesthetics really attracts me to the knife from the get-go. And this really attracted me to it as soon as I put it in my hand. The blade shape is kind of like a modified tanto. It's almost like a harpoon edge. It's a couple different things. You have this really aggressive recurve that I know that Zeke really loves to do, and he spoke about the aggressive recurve in his write-up there. But the way, without even knowing what he did, I love the fact that you have the swell here, which is going to be the end where it's going to be for the impact hits, to break things apart, to break up wood. You have this belly here. But the beauty about the recurve is the fact you have this section here is going to be your part where you're really digging into the wood, and it's an incredible wood processor because it hugs the wood and it forces it to cut some really nice strands very easily because you have that curvature there. It's not just, it's a lot better than straight. It's kind of like what makes the kukri style blades being such great bushcrafting utilitarian knives is really what makes the beauty of this blade shape for me. I know there was a reason why Zeke made it, but me personally, without really reading it, I'm telling you that this is a good wood chopper and it's a good wood processor. You chop it up, you process it, and you chop it up. It's a dual purpose. You have the tip here that's perfectly strong enough for you to baton if you need to baton with it. I did everything with this knife. I beat the shit out of this knife. Yes, it is a fighter, okay? It's made to be a fighter. It's the little fighter. This knife, even though if you saw my trailer, you notice that since the phrase evil is in the name, I could not resist to make the trailer that I did on it. But that's not essentially why he named it evil. The evil name comes from an MMA fighter, a UFC MMA fighter, lightweight champion. His name was Jens Little Evil Pulver. So that's basically where it came from. It came from an MMA fighter. He had the name Little Evil, and that's where the name Little Evil came from. I tell you, if evil means badass and badass means good, this is one evil ass freaking knife. The knife construction is obviously a really solid full tang, okay, nice thick spine behind there, a lot of different type of swedging going on here, reinforced tip. It's a thing of beauty. I mean, this knife is made so freaking well. It's about 12.7 inches overall. The blade length is at around 7.3 inches. It's a beautiful convex edge, and I love freaking convex edges. Love when they throw convex edges into knives. Like I said, to modify Tonto, the steel is excellent. The steel is a Bowler K329 steel. It's got a 58 to 60 HRC, which is perfect. Perfect for you to basically hold a good edge retention. You're gonna have to sharpen it eventually. It holds a good edge retention. It'll get through a lot of punishment, which I did, and it'll handle the punishment because it's not going to be too brittle. So it's a perfect HRC, especially for that steel. It's got a satin and a rugged texture, and I love this fuller here. And you notice how artistic the fuller he made with the rigid lines in the middle. It is a thing of freaking beauty. I love the look of this fuller. It's an even fuller on each side, expertly done. And it just gives us such a nice overall look. I haven't seen a fuller with these types of details in there. So yeah, it's an aesthetically pleasing knife, but it's a knife that works. It's not just pretty, it freaking works, and it handles everything that you dish out at. The handle is a G10 handle, and listen, I can't speak enough about the handle, the comfort of the handles of Zeke Menacho's designs, and how it comes to light, you know, we'll work Tough Gear and how they work with their G10s and how there's no hot spots. Look at that point over there. This is what makes this thing evil. Look at that point over there, right above the finger choil. I love that little accent of this point. It is so freaking badass. You got the sharpening choil there, so you have a little lip there that you can sharpen, a little smiley face there that you can sharpen up and have it up top of there. And it's got that point there with the finger choil. Really protects your fingers really well, especially if you're using it basically for stabbing action, for penetration, and it is a good penetrator as well. But the handle with the swell of the handle, how really your hand completely hugs it, and there's enough purchase on it, is just phenomenal. Now with some knives, I usually call the pommel the mercy end, and we call the sharp edge or the blade the business end, okay? On this particular knife, I would not call the pommel a mercy end, because the state of this pommel right now, it's solid as hell. It's a solid slab of steel, but you have those semi-sharp ridges there that really is just, to pull it lightly, it's made to basically soften things up with some liquid, basically after effects after that, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's a crusher, it's a smacker. It can bang things down, it can break up wood. You can see basically what I was doing with this knife, slamming this thing into stone with all my might. Obviously you can't go nuts with it because you don't want to slip into the blade. but with no vibrations that really traveled up the handle, nothing that loosened up the handle. I was really banging the shit out of this thing onto the stone, and obviously no chips or nothing that basically happened to the pommel. It's a solid steel pommel. I didn't think anything would happen, but that stone, if you hit wood or as a glass breaker or basically just breaking anything up to soften it up, this pommel is devastating. So I don't know if I would call this a mercy end, because I would not be want to be on the under end of this pommel. But I definitely would not want to take my chances with the blade as well. Because the blade really did come sharp as hell. Now you can see with my sharpening demonstrations, it is a very sharp knife. All Work Tough Gear knives come extremely sharp from the factory to you. That is one of the most consistent things that I've seen with Work Tough Gear, is the fact that they come extremely sharp, ready to work, ready to go. You don't need to worry about sharpening it up. You can basically take it out of the box, put it on your holster, and go to work with it. Go camping with it. Go do whatever you need to do with it outdoors, and know that it's coming from the factory, ready to go with you. So the sharpness level was excellent. You can see how it's sailing through all the materials, the steel belted stuff. I even tried to go into a tire, but the tire was kind of really just frozen up from the cold, so it was hard to really get through it. I got to get some lighter tread tires. Those tires are really a bitch to get through, but it was cutting it through it. It did spike it. It did cut through it. But I was trying to also just try to abuse the edge a little bit and try to go through the steel belt and stuff to see if I couldn't find any issues that would arise on the edge, but I couldn't. I could not. Banging this thing into the wood and everything I was doing, it was just, you can't stop these knives. You really can't. I mean, obviously, listen, you give this knife to Joe X, he's going to destroy your knife. That's his major goal. But with normal use and normal sensible stuff that you could do with a knife, this knife will handle it. It'll handle it for you over and over and over again. I think I did kind of just enough testing on it to show you basically how strong this knife is. So now you can see, this knife is not a big knife or a big blade that you're going to basically chop wood with it. The reason why I do these types of demonstrations for you is to show you the edge retention, show you, to prove to you over and over again, the edge retention is excellent coming from Work Tough Gear. And the fact that basically banging it into the wood, if you need to do it, you can do it. Now, we have to treat it into the point where this is the only knife you have. If this is the only knife I have outdoors in a camping situation or in a life-threatening survival type of situation, can this knife handle everything I have to handle with it? It can. I was processing wood with it. I was banging this into the wood. If you need to basically break up wood for a fire, you can do it to stay warm. And then once you use this end to kind of break up wood, as you can see that I'm doing, you go to the back by the finger choil and you go to the recurve, before the recurve there, and you see how it is completely processing the wood like a excellent bushcrafting type of knife. It's just great. It's like a multi-purpose type of blade in terms of the design. I really absolutely am in love with this type of design. I love when knives do this type of thing where you have different portions of the blade that can do different things for you. So it's a multi-purpose type of knife, especially for doing wood processing. So guys, time and time again, basically being out there in the woods, being in my outdoor studio, I'm basically doing whatever I could do with it just to see how much this thing could do. And this was a lot of fun. I gotta tell you, Work Tough Gear knives are just just so much fun to kind of use and demonstrate their ability, because I know that I'm going to be confident. I'm going to be confident that it's not going to fail me. I was doing tip tests. Now, I hate tip tests like Scab does. However we do it, but when I know a knife can handle it, it can handle it. So if you basically need to wedge things open, or you need to get into the wood and make some bow drills and things like that, make some holes to run things through, hammer this in to make some holes so you can run wire like a paracord through, you can do it with this knife. You can be confident that the tip is going to hold up. Obviously, you're not going to drill this thing into stone on the tip. You're going to break it, but sensible things, it can handle it. It is a tough enough point where you know it's not going to break on you. It's a pretty knife, but it's a strong knife. It's a knife that's not just looks good, it works, it's made well. Batoning. Should you baton with a knife? I'm all for batoning. I'm not an axe guy. So basically, if I have a knife that can baton, and this knife can definitely baton, I am going to baton with it. And you know what? They say later on in the knife's life, it can affect it or something like that. But honestly, it's just, if you're sensible with it and you baton when you need to do it, it can work. But really, why do we baton on the videos? Just to show you basically, again, to show you the construction of the knife, to show you that nothing is going to come loose, if the handle's not going to come loose from vibration, banging this thing onto the tip with the wood to make sure the tip is going to hold up, the spine is going to hold up, and just overall construction of the knife if it's strong, and that's how we baton with it. But this was a lot of fun to kind of just demonstrate this knife. It was so much fun to demonstrate everything about this knife, because it was just, I knew it could handle it. Guys, it's an overall package. I mean, listen, with the blade thickness of around 1.87 inches, it's got enough blade thickness here, enough beef on the points, and make it a strong knife. You got the sharpening choil there. You got a comfortable, beautiful G10 handle with perfect fit and finish, and you just got an overall great look, a perfect size in terms of a knife that you basically can fight with or use it as a utilitarian knife. Light and nimble, perfectly good in the hand, very, very comfortable in the hand. The balance is absolutely perfect. It's just a winner. It's another winner from Zeke Menacho, expertly made by Work Tough Gear. And I can't speak enough about it. I mean, call me a fanboy, call me a fan man, whatever it is. I'm going to stand by my brand and Work Tough Gear, because it's just, I know that I'm very confident with their product and what they give me. And this is just another one that is just, I'm singing its praises because it did really well. Now, listen, I'm not just another knife channel that is telling you, oh, it's a great knife. Oh, it feels great. It's going to perform great. It's going to last you. It's a great made knife. I showed you. I beat the shit out of it. I demoed for you basically on hard materials, on steel belted stuff, and I banged the crap out of it, and the knife is perfectly fine. Even the satin finish kind of held up with all the abrasive stuff. This is after cutting. This is after I did all the cutting with it. And again, I did a lot of aggressive cutting. It's still pretty much paper slicing sharp. Obviously, you feel like it's going to lose something. It's got to lose something with really all the abuse I was putting on it. But it's pretty impressive that it kind of held the edge retention as much as it did. Now, again, I don't need to reprofile this thing. I think I can kind of just take this knife, just give it a light strop, and I'll bring the edge back to a completely working position. But this is still cutting pretty damn good. I gotta tell you, I'm pretty freaking impressed, and I'm hoping that you are, because I gotta tell you, I'm not selling you on the knife, guys. I'm not selling you on Work Tough Gear as a brand or anything like that. I'm just giving you my experience, and my experience so far with Work Tough Gear has been excellent. My experience with the Little Evil Fighter from Zeke Menacho has been excellent. It handled everything I threw at it, everything I could possibly throw at it sensibly, and it felt great doing it. It feels so good and comfortable in the hand. It is just a great freaking knife. Now, listen, no matter what Work Tough Gear you go with, guys, it's gonna work for you. It's gonna be great. Well, if this design works for you, It's in stock right now. Work Tough Gear is just airing in this video. It's the last time I checked anyway. But as drops come in, I'm going to let you know what they are. But for now, it is in stock. It's a great knife. Check it out from Work Tough Gear. Another winner from Zeke Menacho. Love, love, love this knife. Thank you to Mr. Vic. Thank you to Zeke. Thank you to Work Tough Gear for continually giving us perfect, beautiful work knives that we can rely on. And guys, since Zeke dedicated this thing to a time-honored soldier's knife, I obviously want to remind you that all my videos are dedicated to the awareness for our veterans. Respect and awareness for our veterans. We respect you, and there's a place for you here always on my channel and on all my videos, guys. Awareness for hashtag 22 a day no more, which is what I call it now. And veterans, there's a place for you here always on my videos. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Great piece of steel, great work, Zeke Menacho, great work, Mr. Vic and Work Tough Gear. Have a good one, guys. See you on the next Sword and Knife video. Appreciate all your support. So guys, while you enjoy this beautiful sunset, please try and click onto one of these other Work Tough Gear videos that I've done as well. And thanks so much for your support, and I'll see you on the next Sword and Knife video. And don't forget, I also do swords. I do everything. Have a good one, guys. Ciao.